Hi, and welcome back to Deep Six Wrestling. I'm your host, Just Pat, and this is the newest edition of 5 matches to watch here in the new room. Since, if you saw last week's episode, you know that I have moved. So, welcome to the new place. We've got some nice posters over here. There's an AJ Styles little art card over there. Autographed picture of Joey Ryan and another one of Johnny Mundo. And then right over there, the big poster of Shinsuke Nakamura winning the NXT Championship. And then a bunch of other stuff. There's Thor Ragnarok poster, Moon Knight, Childish Gambino because of the internet poster, and then 2 Avengers Endgame promotional posters that I got from when I saw that. So, the room's coming along nicely as I continue to unpack things, but just trying to get this video out in time. So, if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Subscribe to Deep Six Wrestling for all of your wrestling needs. We have reviews of pay-per-views. We have in defense of videos, which are kind of like video essays on different controversial topics in the wrestling world. You have unboxing videos with the glorious one, Robbie Rotten, and Kick Out or Get Out, which is kind of like a variety show of sorts. It covers plenty of different things with, Jiu-Jitsu Joey, geriatrics, whatever you want to call them today. But I'm Just Pat. This is my show where I cover 5 matches to watch, which is, what the title suggests. It's me giving you my personal recommendations of 5 matches that happened this past week from across the world of pro wrestling, with the only rule being that there can only be 1 match per show. So, for example, with the SummerSlam weekend happening this past weekend, it can't be just 5 matches from SummerSlam or 5 matches from Takeover or even 5 matches from the G1 Climax. It has to be 1 match per show. That's it. So, with that being said, be sure to follow us over on Twitter at Deep Six Wrestling. We do live tweets. We have live coverage. We did a SummerSlam contest that went pretty well. We had we had a decent number of entrants into it, and the winner got $6 because Deep Six Wrestling. We're going to definitely do more contests, probably with not just $6 on the line. So be sure to follow us over there for all of that. And yeah, be sure to leave a comment down in the description below, or down in the comment section, of what your favorite matches were from this past week. It can be from any promotion. And yeah, I'll be sure to check those out and get back to you if you comment. So without further ado, let's get into this week's video. Right, so kicking things off this week, we have Drew McIntyre versus Cedric Alexander from Monday Night Raw. And while I didn't watch all of Raw live, and I actually did miss this match, I went back to it, watched it, and it wasn't the best match of the week by any means, but it's worth watching for a couple of reasons. One, you have the King of the Ring, which just got announced, and both guys are in that. So I feel like this is a good showcase. I know that they've been having matches on Raw kind of on and off. I was kind of expecting them to get thrown on the pre-show for SummerSlam, but that didn't happen. But these guys had a really nice, it was kind of brief, but it was a really solid showcase match for both guys. Cedric and Drew both came out of this looking like absolute stars. Specifically Cedric, who is slowly getting over with the crowd. And it's kind of, I wouldn't say surprising, because personally for me, I've been a fan of Cedric Alexander since like 2015 when I first caught wind of him in Ring of Honor. He was with Veda Scott, who was his manager. She's also a wrestler. And he was in a feud with Moose, who is now over in Impact. And I really enjoyed the work of all 3 of those individuals. And so when Cedric got added to the Cruiserweight Classic in 2016, it was pretty cool. I wasn't really expecting it, but then it happened. And then, shortly after that, we got the Cruiserweight division, which that didn't get off too much of a hot start. But Cedric was one of the stars in the early days, and he lasted through until, this year, which says a lot for the guy. I don't know. I really like Cedric Alexander, and I really hope he has good things ahead of him. He's not the best on the mic. He has charisma, but I don't know. He's kind of like in that world with Ricochet, where they both have charisma, but they're not the best with like big scripted promos. So we'll see how that goes. Cedric could really benefit from either promo classes or a manager, but McIntyre, we all kind of know, has all of the tools needed to become like the guy or one of the top guys. And so I really think putting these 2 together is smart, because both guys, while they can't afford to take losses really right now, they can both help each other look better. And I don't really, while Cedric shouldn't be losing, I don't think losing the way he did to Drew really hurts him in the long run. And I'm expecting, I don't know. I don't think these 2 will face each other like first round of King of the Ring. I could see like the finals on, like, if it's going to be like Raw on one bracket and then Smackdown on the other, I could see the final bracket for Raw having Drew versus Cedric in this big blow-off match for their feud. I think that would be really smart if you did it that way. And then either guy can win that. I can really see either of these two winning King of the Ring, as well as a couple other people that I get to later, but I wouldn't be shocked if Cedric or Drew wins King of the Ring. And I think both guys could really benefit this from winning it. But yeah, this is a good match to watch. There's some really cool moments in it. Definitely check it out. And, you know, there were 2 really good TV matches this week from WWE. Like, I'm talking like really good. This was the first one. And then the second one, which is going to be the next pickup for this video, is just something else altogether. So that's my number 5 pick this week. And on to number 4. Okay, so number 4 this week is Buddy Murphy versus Roman Reigns from Smackdown Live. And boy, oh boy, what a match this was. I'm a big fan of Buddy Murphy, and I've been saying that since before this channel was even created. But, you know, I was a fan of Blake and Murphy when they were NXT Tag Champs with Alexa Bliss as their manager, but I didn't really see either of them like being a breakout star as like a singles competitor. And, you know, the tag team itself, you know, never got called up to main roster. They both, once they lost the tag titles, they kind of just disappeared, and they made sporadic appearances as singles guys in NXT. Like, I wouldn't even say as like real things. There's this like enhancement talent, and I really think, you know, you have Wesley Blake, who's now in the Forgotten Sons. It took him a while to get started, and Buddy Murphy has been running the best kept secret gimmick for a while, both in like the NXT house show loop and just as like dark matches and stuff. So when he first got called up to 205 Live, I guess it was, when I don't even remember when exactly he got his official call up to 205 Live. But the point is, Buddy Murphy gets called up to 205 Live, absolutely starts like blowing people away with his performances. And it was something that was really, really cool to see, because I don't really think anybody expected Buddy Murphy to be like this super cool, you know, head of a division. And then all of a sudden, once he gets called up, he starts like raising people's eyebrows to him. And then he begins this like slow push to the top. And then he ends up winning the title from Cedric, I believe. Yeah, he beat Cedric for it. And I was kind of shocked. And then they just had him become like the juggernaut of 205 Live, which is what they called him, or the juggernaut of the cruiserweights. And he had a really probably like the best title run so far for the Cruiserweight Championship since it's been revived. Obviously, Neville's up there, but the Cruiserweight division was still kind of like finding its footing when he was champion. And while his like run with the title is definitely significant, I would probably say in terms of like match quality and being over, Buddy Murphy had the better one. And so it's cool to see him now finally, after, you know, technically being called up to main roster. Seeing him finally get a match, and to have his debut match on SmackDown against Roman Reigns, it's great to see. And Roman did like an excellent job here, selling his ass off for Buddy Murphy. He was like selling the hell out of everything that Murphy hit. And like, I don't care what your opinion is on Roman Reigns. The guy is a great wrestler, and his selling is top notch. And he's probably the best person at doing a fake, like a false finish with a really late 2.9 second kick out. Because when Murphy hit his like strike and then brainbuster combo on Reigns, that crowd was like eating out of the palm of their hand, just going like nuts for this. This was great. Buddy was so over with the crowd. Roman was over with the crowd. This was excellent on all levels. This is great stuff. And I really hope that down the line, I don't know how you do it, but get the WWE title on Roman Reigns and then get us back to do Roman versus Murphy again for the WWE Championship. That is money waiting to be printed. These two have excellent like just chemistry, and I'm very excited to see what they're going to do with Buddy Murphy. I think you can do a lot with the guy, even if you don't want to put him up in like the world title like feud yet. Have him do some mid-card stuff. You know, a nice Intercontinental title reign would be nice for him. I know Nakamura has it now, and they've been teasing stuff with Ali, but Ali's entering King of the Ring. Buddy Murphy's entering King of the Ring. Both, again, two guys I can see winning. So I don't know what they're going to do, if they're just going to kind of shelf the IC title feud with Ali for now. We'll see. But speaking of King of the Ring, so if I was going to give you like a couple of my picks, I think Drew McIntyre and Cedric are both really solid picks. I'd say Ali and Murphy are good. I don't know what kind of route they're going. And then my last three, I could see Ricochet winning just because, you know, he has like the whole King Ricochet thing. Not in WWE, but I don't know if they're going to go that way. I feel like he's probably one of the bigger dark horses here. Baron Corbin, I think, has a really good chance at this, though I feel like they might have learned their lesson of over pushing Baron right now. So don't know about that. I really think the one that people aren't talking about that has a very good shot at this is Dolph Ziggler. They clearly want Ziggler featured right now, and they keep giving him these big things, but while he loses, he's still a very prominent figure right now, and I feel like his big losses could be leading it to a very big shock victory of him for King of the Ring, and we'll get King Dolph or King Ziggler. I really don't think Ziggler winning this is the best choice. I think McIntyre, Murphy, and Ali or Ricochet are probably your best choices of guys who could use this to get over. I have a very strong feeling that they're going to probably lean towards Kevin Owens, and they're going to try to recreate Austin 316 with Owens 316. I don't want that, because while Owens is doing great face work, and I know a lot of people are drawing the comparisons between him and Austin, I don't want him to just be their attempt at the second coming of Steve Austin. I want it to be the first coming of Kevin Owens. So we'll see. That all gets kicked off next week on Raw, and I believe it's running till Clash of Champions with the finals happening there. Time will tell what we're going to get, but my hopeful, and Andrade's in this tournament too, and Andrade's my guy, so I guess I got to root for Andrade. I guess they could do that where they have King Andrade and maybe Queen Zelina. That would really be fun. But who knows? If this King of the Ring tournament is really good, it's a really stacked lineup this year, and there's a lot of literally almost everybody in this tournament I'm okay with winning. But we'll see. That's a topic for another time. I'm sure somebody else on the channel will do a video on it, maybe in defense of King of the Ring, or Rob B. Rotten will do a review of King of the Ring 2019. We'll see. But yeah, that's my pick for number 4 this week is Buddy Murphy versus Roman Reigns from SmackDown Live. Sorry that this got a little off track. Definitely go watch this match. It's so good. It's just refreshing to see something like this. Right, so my number 3 pick this week is Jay White versus Tetsuya Naito from night 18 of the G1 Climax 29. And I was watching this, and I didn't know the results of it because I tried to wake up live, but just that wasn't happening. And going into this whole tournament, my original predictions for the finals were Tetsuya Naito versus Will Ospreay. And that final did not happen at all. I was so off in a lot of my predictions. I had I had a bad start to the tournament that the whole middle of the tournament I was doing really well in my predictions, and by the end I just completely fell off again. But this match was the real determining factor. Both guys were tied here in their points, and I really just thought that this was a really, really good match. I don't think it was necessarily either guy's best match. I really think Shingo versus Naito was probably his best match, and Jay White in terms of the main tournament, the 1 through 18 nights. I think his best match was probably versus Ishii, and then spoilers. I think his best match out of all was him versus Ibushi from the finals, which we'll be talking about. But don't worry, this match was really good. I think both guys really clicked here, and I think I was genuinely shocked when Jay White won this, because he was my number 2 pick to win the tournament. But I was really kind of leaning towards Jay when I was thinking about who to pick to win this thing. But I was I don't really think Jay has a chance at this. I was it has to be Naito, and then all of a sudden it's not Naito, and I was oh, okay. And I wasn't disappointed in it. I know a lot of people are upset that Naito lost, and I can see that. If you're a big Tetsuya Naito fan, then you obviously don't want him losing, and you were probably looking forward to him getting his big moment at the Tokyo Dome in January, where he would win on night 1 of Wrestle Kingdom, probably retaining the IC title, and then night 2 probably winning the IWGP Heavyweight Championship from Okada, or whoever holds it by then. Okada's facing Suzuki and Sonata before then, so will that title change? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if Suzuki won. Let's just say that. But this match was really good. Again, not the best tournament, not the best match for either guy, but definitely one to watch, because I really think that just the way it's booked is really strong, and I really think the ending kind of is genuinely surprising in several ways. And I think watching this is a good introduction to Naito and Jay White if you're not familiar with the New Japan product. So this definitely gets a big thumbs up from me. I thought it was a great deciding match for who's getting into the finals, and again, the ending was genuinely shocking. So I have to give that, like, just for, I woke up pretty early in the morning to watch this, and again, like, I didn't watch it live, but still woke up decently early, catching it late, and it got a really, really big reaction out of me, like, even when I was, like, on the verge of falling back asleep. So good on you, New Japan, good on you, Gato, and great job to both Tetsuya Naito and Jay White for their effort in this one. Okay, so the runner-up this week is Io Shirai versus Candice LeRae from NXT TakeOver Toronto, and I just want to say, I know I'm kind of lacking here in, like, female matches on this, in the series. I think the last one was one of the Sarah Logan versus Dana Brooke matches from main event a couple weeks ago. And to be fair, in terms, I don't want to say I don't watch a lot of women's wrestling, but I don't really watch a lot of, like, women's wrestling. Like, I watch, like, the WWE stuff, the NXT UK, and that's really about it. I like, and AEW when they have shows, but, like, I feel like I should start branching more out to, like, watch, like, more Stardom and stuff, but I'm just going to be transparent and just be honest and say I don't. So, but this was one of the best women's matches of the year, probably my favorite women's match of the year. This was fantastic from start to finish. Like, Io came out with her new theme and her new entrance, and it just looks wonderful. She has all of the potential to be a star, and I stated before that I really, if you're a Japanese superstar, I really hope you don't come to the WWE, because the track record here isn't that great, and you have a very high possibility of getting ruined. And if it happens with Io Shirai, just seeing the reaction she got here and the performance she gave and the glowing reviews this match got, if Io Shirai heads up to main roster and doesn't, like, succeed because of booking, then I think it is undeniable that there is a bigger issue at hand here with Japanese talent on the main roster of WWE. But that remains to be seen, so we'll wait and see. We've given them a bunch of chances, and you have two very promising people in NXT right now, in Kushida and Io Shirai, and if they mess them up, I don't think you can defend it anymore. But that being said, this match was, again, this was just fantastic. Like I said, Io Shirai's presence is great here. Candice LeRae, she's had like 3 theme songs since she's come to NXT, and I feel like each one of them gets worse and worse. Not a big fan of it, but big fan of Candice, so I ignore that. She comes right out of the gates hot, just like bolting for Io as soon as they get in the ring. Match gets started, and we are off to the races. This is just great action from start to finish. Again, this was a match where I think everybody knew Io Shirai was going to win just based off the feud, and I was genuinely shocked here that, like, Candice got in as much offense as she did. I kind of thought this was going to be a glorified squash match. Like, I thought she would get offense in, but I didn't think this was going to be as big of a deal as it was. Especially with, like, Shayna and Mia Yim on the card later. I thought that was going to be the bigger women's match, and it ended up kind of being a reverse thing here. And that was also kind of strange. I really thought Mia Yim was just going to beat Shayna as, like, the big shock, and Shayna would move up to main roster. Mia Yim would probably be transitional champion. And then, you know, Io Shirai would probably beat the hell out of her, like, super fast at, like, the next TV taping. I don't know what they're doing with Shayna. I really was expecting her up by now, but we'll see. Io's heel, so I don't really think they're going to do Io Shirai versus Shayna Baszler again, but with both of them as heels, that would be pretty strange. And I also really don't want Shayna Baszler to just, like, vacate the title like Asuka did. Asuka doing it was one thing, but, like, Shayna's like this, I think the glorious Robbie Rotten over here on our channel said it best to me when we were watching TakeOver, that that Shayna is like this big conquering heel, and she deserves to have somebody come and beat her. And so I really think that I don't know who's gonna do it. I could see Tegan Nox or Dakota Kai maybe. My money would be on Dakota, just because they have way more history than her and Tegan Nox do. So Dakota Kai versus Shayna Baszler, that could definitely happen, and I would be so into that because I love Dakota Kai. So we'll see. But this match, if you haven't seen TakeOver and you just want one match to watch, a lot of people would probably say Cole versus Gargano 3, solely for, like, that final stipulation. But this is definitely my pick. I really think that this is going to, by the time, like, we get to the end of the year, this is without a doubt going to be probably one of the best NXT matches and one of the best women's matches of the year, hands down. So this is me giving you my seal of approval for what it's worth. Definitely go check out Shirai versus LeRae. You really won't be disappointed. Okay, so my number one pick this week is not from the SummerSlam card. This is, look, I liked SummerSlam a lot. I thought it was an enjoyable show. There was some really good stuff. There was also some pretty bad stuff on the card. But there wasn't anything that, like, blew my mind or anything that I can like highly recommend above anything else on this list for certain reasons. Like, I can say Trish versus Charlotte was great. I can't say it was better than Io versus Candice. I can say Rollins versus Lesnar was great, but I can't say it was better than the G1 matches or more important to watch than the Cedric McIntyre or Murphy Reigns match, because it's just a Brock Lesnar match, and it's not even one of his better. Like, it's a good one, but it's not like Lesnar versus Styles or Lesnar versus Bryan from Survivor Series. Sorry. So, you know, for that reason alone, I couldn't put any SummerSlam matches on here. Like, I guess I could have maybe switched out something from SummerSlam with Cedric versus Drew, but really I couldn't think of one. I sat here and, like, if it was going to be something, it would be The Fiend versus Balor, but that also just feels unfair because it was a glorified squash match. It was probably under 5 minutes, and it would solely make the list for the Fiend's entrance alone. So, if anything, this is an honorable mention to SummerSlam and the Fiend's entrance. WWE, don't mess this up. You literally have like a license to print money with Bray Wyatt right now. You have fixed everything wrong with him. You've upgraded his entrance. You've upgraded his attire. Bray's in better shape than he's been in. You have so much to do here. Do it right. Don't disappoint us. If you do, people will not forgive you. So, you know, just do it correctly. But yeah, so the winner this week for 5 matches to watch, I still haven't mentioned it, is Jay White versus Kota Ibushi from the G1 Climax 29 finals. And boy, oh boy, this is probably my match of the year. And I'm so happy to say that because Jay White is one of my favorite New Japan guys. So this is great. And there's so much to talk about here. Like, you have Kenta joining Bullet Club at the return of Shibata. Just the Bullet Club going back to being like major heels and like the dickhead faction that they are. Kota Ibushi winning the thing. Just like, this was just so good on every single level. This match works, and talking about it, I can't do it justice. So if you have New Japan World and you're somehow like haven't watched this, I'm sorry that I spoiled it for you, but this is days ago. I feel like you've already had it spoiled for you. Go watch this match as soon as you can. I really can't stress that enough. It's so good. Like, it's so goddamn good. If you, for some reason, don't think Jay White has the potential to be a top guy or, like, the top guy in New Japan, I feel like this match proves it wrong. And you might be like, oh, Kota Ibushi carries it. I really don't agree with that. I think both guys do equal work here. And thankfully, Kota Ibushi's not trying to kill himself the entire match. There are a couple pretty, like, strong, like, shots of him landing on his neck from suplexes, but everything else is pretty safe. And it's not like Naito versus Ibushi. Like, I feel like I was getting really worried we were going to see that in the finals, but we didn't. And I'm kind of glad because I didn't want to see Kota Ibushi and Tetsuya Naito die. So, yeah, Jay White, I really think this guy has all of the makings of a future star in any company he goes in. I really think that he's a guy who would succeed in pretty much any system. I think he could really work well in the WWE. I think he has the charisma for that, and he has the look. He has the look. Like, that's undeniable. I wonder if his accent would be an issue for anyone backstage. Not anyone in particular or anything, but I don't know. I don't know if there's ever been a big New Zealand, like, I don't know. We'll see. But I don't really think Jay's ever going to go to WWE. Maybe down the line, but I guess he is pretty young. I think he's only 28 or 29. But which is shocking, by the way. But Jay White did really good here. I think he would do good in WWE. I think he would do good in AEW. Hell, he would do good in Impact. So take that as what you as you will. Kota Ibushi, we know he would do well in WWE. We saw him in the Cruiserweight Classic and a couple appearances in NXT before he ultimately went back to New Japan as a freelancer. This match is great. I really strongly recommend this to you. Again, I don't even know. This G1 Climax is probably like my favorite that I've ever seen. And I watched like almost every single night of this live. There was only like a string of like 4 shows I didn't watch live. So I'm finally catching up on my sleep, and my sleep schedule is getting back to normal, which is nice. But this is definitely a match to watch, and by the end of the year, it'll probably be on not several, that makes it seem like nobody. This will probably be on a lot of people's top matches of the year list. It's definitely at the top of mine right now. Again, this was a really good weekend for pro wrestling. Just like alone, like all of the matches from this list happened between Saturday and Tuesday. So there's a big string of just like really great wrestling. So again, like I said, SummerSlam is good. It wasn't the best show of the year, but it was a good show. So there's stuff on there that's worth watching. Again, like I said, the Fiend's entrance is really good. If you haven't seen Brock versus Seth, it's worth watching, I guess. Again, you're not going to be blown away by anything. And I still have my issues with it, like the whole, Seth Rollins comes out on Raw the week before barely walking and like selling his ribs, and then Sunday comes and he's just running around the ring not selling his ribs and diving off things for frog splashes. But, as a match without like the context, it's really good stuff. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for this list. So, thank you for checking this out. Be sure to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button down below for Deep Six Wrestling, for all your wrestling needs. As I mentioned before, we have reviews, rants, top 5 list. What else we got? We got like everything here. It's a good channel. And be sure to follow us over on Twitter at Deep Six Wrestling. It'll be right below me in the video, and then down in the description below. We do live tweets, we do contests, we do just our opinions on wrestling. So it's definitely worth following us if you haven't done so already. And be sure to leave a like on this video, comment down below what your favorite matches were this week, or if you agreed with any of mine. And yeah, that about does it. I'll be back next week with another 5 matches to watch. But until then, peace.